Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. Welcome indeed. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson. Hey, you all know our show. You're familiar with our show, Eye on the Valley. It is brought to you, like I said, by SCVi and I Lead Schools. We are a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school. We've got a home study program that's just absolutely blowing up. It's called iLead Exploration. You can get more information on any of our charter schools at ileadschools.org. And, I can't say this enough. People continue to ask me. I've been with iLead now for 13 years. They've been open for 16 years, and people still ask me, hey, that sounds great. What's the tuition at your schools? Well, no. Remember, friends, charter schools are public schools. When I say charter, you think free. Free public charter schools. That's right. And we've got 6 of them to choose from because each kid is different. Everybody learns in a different way. And so we got to make sure that we've got enough opportunities for everybody to get what they need. And we do that at iLead Schools. Again, ileadschools.org. Tell you what, we're going to be here for a couple of hours this morning. You're going to laugh, you're going to learn something new, you're going to be inspired, you're going to be excited. And so right now, just head on over. You got a Keurig, pour yourself an extra cup of coffee and just relax and enjoy some time with us. And while you do, log on to ileadschools.org and check out, see if you can find the school that you think would be just right for your kid. Because like I said, we've got 6 schools. Within those 6 schools, we've got 9 different programs. So trust me, whatever your kid needs, I'm sure we've got a program that is just right for them. One more time, ileadschools.org. Sip that coffee, settle in. We've got a great show for you here this morning. So yeah, like I said, we keep our eye on education in and through the Santa Clarita Valley, up into the Antelope Valley, and across the nation. But we also, like the show says, keep our eye on the Valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the Valley. And we do so while trying to put a smile on your face, because you know what? If you're not giggling one while, if you're not chuckling, you're not doing it right. So yeah, let's have some laughs together. Let's spend some time together, and let's get right to it. It's going to be another absolutely amazing weekend here in Southern California. This is why your rent's so high. This is why your taxes are so high, because we get to live here. It's beautiful. There's a lot going on in and around the valley today. We might get to that a little bit later on if we have a chance. But we've got a lot to talk about. Great show coming up for you. Producer Sarah, you put together another amazing show. We appreciate you. In just a minute, you're going to meet Justin Albright. Justin has been with iLead Lancaster now. That is our second school, opened up in 2012. He's been with them for 7 years now. Hard to believe that it's been that long. But in August, he's making a move. No, he's not moving out. He's moving to our founding school, SCVi. That's where he's going to take charge of the new aerospace pathway that SCVi is launching in the fall. Yes, pun intended. People, you need to start intending your puns more. So yeah, Justin's going to be captaining that aerospace pathway. We're really excited about it. SCVi has been leading the way in preparing our students for careers and futures in aviation and aerospace for well over a decade now. They've been in the news a lot recently because they're really upping their ante. You know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk to Justin all about it in just a minute. Then in hour number 2, you'll meet Cesar Torres. Oh, I love saying that. Cesar Torres. Cesar is he's on the board of the Leap Children's Museum. Did you know? I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, that's right. We've got a children's museum coming to town. Yeah, you better believe it. It's been way too long, but we're finally getting a children's museum here in Santa Clarita. Cesar and I are going to talk all about it in hour number 2. And yes, those of you who are here for the goofiness and the silliness and the fun and the games and the trivia, yes, Big T will be here at the end of the show, as he always is. That's right. Mom won't let me have nice things of my own. She makes me put on my stupid big brother so that he can have a little something nice in his Friday morning as well. So yeah, settle in, won't you? It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an exciting show. Let's go ahead and get started. My first guest today is Justin Albright. Justin recently earned, check this out, in astronomical and planetary sciences from Arizona State University. He plans to begin his master's in space systems engineering at the University of New Mexico this fall. He previously worked at Virgin Galactic as... You're starting to get the idea how this guy got the job, right? He previously worked at Virgin Galactic, material handler, which gave him the opportunity to work on spaceships. And everybody at SCVi is excited to have him join the team where he will lead their new career-connected learning pathway in the field of aerospace. And gosh, I just couldn't think of a better candidate. Justin, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We're glad you're here. We're super excited about everything that you've got coming up. Let's let our listeners get to know you a little bit. Tell our listeners a little bit about your journey into education, because you didn't start out planning to.
How it initially started out was my former boss, Miss Nicole Kent, reached out to me about 7 years ago saying, "Hey, are you looking for some work?" And at the time, I was pretty much fresh out of high school, and I was working at like the Boys and Girls Club. Okay. And part-time, just trying to like make ends meet. And she said, "Hey, we have an opening here at my school. I'm a principal now." She's my former high school teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
knew Nicole way back when.
Right.
Wow.
And like you said, I had never had like this goal of being in education, but she said, "Hey, like I'm the principal of this school now, and I'd love to have you come on as like a math tutor." And I said, "Yeah, of course, like full-time, like sign me up. I'm going to go ahead and take that." And, the rest is history. After that, I started off as the school's math tutor. I upgraded to the school's exploratorium facilitator. Soon after, that turned into the school's 8th grade math facilitator, science facilitator, and now I'm back to the exploratorium until this August.
Wow. So you tutored math, you taught math and science, and you've been working. I know you've done a lot of work in the exploratorium, and I want to parse a couple of those things out. First of all, folks they'll tell me all the time, "Oh, Matt, I know what you guys do at those charter schools. You call them facilitators because they're not real teachers." Not true.
Yeah, not
we
at all.
are required to meet all of the rigorous standards to have highly qualified educators in our classroom. They are teachers. We call them facilitators to shift the mindset a little bit because we want to put the education in the kids' hands.
Right.
So I think our listeners are probably pretty familiar with what a math tutor might do with kids in a TK through 8th grade school like I Lead Lancaster. I'm sure they're pretty familiar with what a math teacher or a science teacher does.
Absolutely.
But you said you've been teaching in the exploratorium. Talk to me about the exploratorium, because this is a really cool place.
Oh, it's super cool. It's awesome. So the exploratorium, like kind of how we were saying earlier about like the lingo and the terminology we use at iLead. Think of exploratorium, for those that may not be familiar with it, as like a computer lab, but that's kind of like a downgrade when you talk about it. Like
Sure.
The exploratorium is so much more.
Right.
The classroom itself is roughly, there's enough stuff in there that would equate to like maybe $250,000. And we're talking we're talking things like Arduino, snap circuits, drones. We have Adobe Workshop. It's so much. There's a lot of different things that kids will be able to partake in should they choose to sign up for it. Now that's typically for our 6th through 8th graders, but everyone K through 5 does have the opportunity to come and take the class for a spin.
Yeah, I like to refer to the exploratorium as either a design thinking lab or a digital makery. In 2024, it's not enough for us to just come up with good ideas and imagine great stuff. We got to be able to create it,
Absolutely.
right? And so your colleague Robert, he works in the makery where kids are working with wood and metal and hardware and things like that, and they're dreaming up things that they're building. And in the exploratorium, they're doing the same thing with you.
Absolutely. It's
just instead of nuts and bolts, it's zeros and ones, right?
Right, right.
They're coding. They're on the flight simulator. They're doing all kinds of that stuff. So it's got to be a really cool job.
Super fun.
Now, I know at I Lead Lancaster, that was kind of your first foray into teaching, but you attended a traditional district school where you met Nicole Kent.
Yes.
So how is I Lead different from maybe a traditional district school?
I think honestly, when it comes to iLead, and this might be considered biased, but I think there's more buy-in from the teachers. Like the facilitators are there. It just seems like it's like a good group of people, and everyone's really like locked in and has the same common goal. Whereas when I was in public education, just speaking on my own experiences, it was really, just you're there and you go through the classes and you go to the next teacher, and it's just like really dull. But at iLead, especially Lancaster in particular, like it just seems like we have a really good group of people there, and everyone wants to be there.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's such a great vibe, such an
Right.
incredible energy there among the educators, among the kids as
Yeah,
well. And so when I first heard that you were applying for this new position at SCVi, I thought, no way, Justin's got the coolest job in the world. He's working in the
Right.
Exploratorium. But this is a pretty cool opportunity. You're going to be leading one of our career-connected learning pathways at SCVi. So for our listeners who might not know, they might call it career and technical education. At iLead, we call it, again, just because connected learning. Can you tell our listeners what career-connected learning is and maybe why that's so important for schools like SCVi to offer?
Yeah, so for the Career Connected Learning program that we have going on, I mean, essentially it's giving the learners that are in the program the job-ready information, tools, skills, so whenever they leave high school, they will have a advantage over someone that did not take a CCL or Career Connected Learning pathway, right?
Right.
It's more so preparing them for the working world. And something that I really like about how we're structuring this CCL is that it's going to have like two different branches, right? So there can be the learner that is like college ready and is geared toward going to a four-year university. So that's like a great like resume piece. Like, hey, I know all of these technical job ready skills and I'm going to go to a four-year university and pursue out my passion that way.
All right.
Or it's also tailored for the learner that doesn't want to go to the four-year university, right? You can get right out of high school, 18 years old, and be job ready.
Sure.
Because of what we're building within the program.
I love that. And what a great way to look at it. I remember when we first started getting into all these different aerospace projects at SCVi and things like that, but it was a pretty prestigious university that focused on aerospace and space exploration. He applied, actually got his rejection letter.
Oh, wow.
And then about 3 weeks later, they reached back out to him and said, we didn't know, and they didn't know because he hadn't done it until after he applied. We didn't know you were involved in this Dream Up to Space project where you and your classmates had sent an experiment to the International Space Station, and you're actually doing the work that we're preparing our college students to do. And they actually said, please forgive us and come to our school. And he did. He's still studying there now.
Awesome.
Actually, you know what? I think he's in his graduate program. But yeah, we think of these programs oftentimes as preparing kids for career, but they're also preparing them for career-oriented pathways in college.
Right.
So that is really exciting. So I mentioned before that you are the perfect person for this role to lead the aerospace pathway at SCVi. Can you tell us what you mentioned that you're going to be preparing kids for college and career. So when they get down to it, what kind of things are you going to be doing with the kids? What are you going to be preparing them to do?
So the aerospace CCL is going to encompass some major buckets. So one of them is obviously aviation, right? Aviation as a whole, not just thinking like, hey, I'm going to be a pilot, but even something as like minor as being like on ground control when you're at the airport. That's just to kind of touch base there. Another thing that's one of the big buckets is coding. So implementing coding and strategies with Python is the language that we're choosing to use to kind of integrate those skills into the aerospace industry. Like you said earlier about Dream Up, we are also integrating a more higher level microgravity research project that will kind of run alongside the Dream Up this upcoming August or first semester for the 24-25 school year. And lastly, probably the best thing or the thing I'm most excited for is drone integration. So we are going to implement a drone program within it that is going to be revolved around drone soccer. So think about a whole bunch of drones flying inside of an enclosed arena playing soccer.
Wow.
But that's like the fun part of it at the end, right? But what the learners are going to learn, code the drone, and and the communication and teamwork needed to win in a game of drone soccer.
Right. Gosh, I can't imagine how complex that is, but yeah, great thinking and flexibility that you're building and doing something that's fun. Justin, I mentioned earlier your own educational background, and you said that your original plan wasn't necessarily to go into education. So can you talk to our listeners a little bit about some of the specifics of what you studied in school and maybe what your initial dream was as you were working on your undergrad?
Yeah. So like you had mentioned, my degree is in astronomical and planetary sciences, kind of like a long-winded way of saying like astrophysics. So space exploration and, the physics and understanding of how certain things work in the universe. Circling back to when I was younger, I had this idea of like, oh, I want to be an astronaut or maybe some type of engineer. So that was the initial pathway going through that. And, like I said, the education wasn't necessarily my dream growing up. But the fact now that I can kind of tailor in what I was going to school for into an education seems like a win-win for me. So
Yeah, gosh, and it's got to be really cool to tap into the excitement of younger kids and get their imaginations really going wild. I mentioned your resume mentions the time that you worked at Virgin Galactic. How did you get a job like that, and what did you do there?
So my time there, I was a material handler, and it was a really cool job. I was able to kind of work alongside with and on the spaceship on a daily basis. Generally speaking, the material handler works alongside the technicians and the engineers, and they'll come up to me and be like, "Hey, we need parts XYZ." I'll check them out with like a database system.
Okay.
They'll go install it. I'll come and verify QA stuff. But yeah, being in that environment was really cool. Seeing spaceships on a daily basis is just, a really, really cool thing.
Yeah, right up your alley. Justin Albright, the recently named lead facilitator of SCVi's Aerospace Career Connected Learning Pathway, joins me this morning. He is literally and figuratively soon going to be helping students right here in Santa Clarita get their careers off the ground, starting in high school and even earlier. More with Justin when we get back. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley, and you're listening to your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, your host, and you are listening to SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by Justin Albright. Justin has been a facilitator at iLead Lancaster for the last 7 years. For those of you that missed it, facilitator is what we call our teachers. It's just the way they present the material to the kids. They put the curriculum in the kids' hands. I'm not going to go all into that. If you missed it, go back and catch us on the podcast. But really excited that Justin was recently named lead facilitator of now iLead's founding school, SCVi. He was named lead facilitator of their Aerospace Career Connected Learning Pathway, where he's going to be working to get his kids excited about, get them experience, and get them ready for careers in aerospace, in aviation, get them ready for college pathways in the aerospace pathways. And I just want to remind you one more time that SCVi is your classroom-based free public charter school. Yeah, right here in Santa Clarita. So, Justin, thanks again for joining us. One of the things that you've got to be excited about, and I don't want to scare you away, but this can be intimidating as well, is you kind of get to build the program from the ground up. SCVi is launching their Career Connected Learning Pathway in aerospace next year. They've already launched Career Connected Learning Pathways in the area of theater, set design, things like that. But you get to build this program, this aerospace program. It can be a daunting task, but also an exciting opportunity. Can you talk about that challenge, that opportunity that you have a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? It is daunting, but it's so exciting. Like the fact that I'm able to build it from the ground up, I am able to suit it to some of my strengths.
Right.
So I think coding is a big part of it. That's why I wanted to integrate coding into it. Being at Virgin Galactic, I saw how much engineers were utilizing coding on a day-to-day basis. And then something that I thought was like fun and engaging was the drones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did something at Lancaster with a drone, like a little baby curriculum that I had where we had a whole bunch of drones and we built like an obstacle course with PVC pipes, navigate the little drones through the obstacle course. Mm-hmm. And that's super fun.
Yeah.
But, taking it one step further with this aerospace CCL is like, hey, we're going to be coding it, building it. We're going to be playing soccer with it, which is something really unique that I think is super cool. But, going back to what you're saying about the daunting aspect of it, like it is a little bit, intimidating, but I think one of the greatest strengths I have in my corner is I have a really good team behind me that's helping me along the way.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that makes it like, almost stress-free. It's like I have a really solid team behind me helping me every step of the way. I'll bring things forward. They'll, let's tweak it around like this. And, I is like makes this task like doable and not threatening or not like daunting, right? It's good.
That's a really good point. You know, we work really closely with our students to teach them to collaborate with each other, and we obviously model that in our work. We've actually had some of the folks you're talking about here on Eye on the Valley in the past. You're talking about Allison Bravo,
Yes.
who kind of oversees the career-connected learning pathways. She's a curriculum and design expert.
Oh, yeah,
and
rock star.
She's been a rock star at everything
Yeah.
she touches. Yeah, and she works with Matt Zukowicz, who
Yeah.
specializes in this kind of thing. I know the two of them have already been really supportive and will continue to
Absolutely.
do so. And then you get to spend your time with Kathleen and
Oh
Shauna.
yeah, Kathleen's the best.
Kathleen and
Shauna's great
Shauna,
too. Yeah.
as it were, and I mean, it's no hyperbole or overstatement to say that these guys are rock stars in the area of aerospace education.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you'll definitely have your
Right,
support.
right.
But yeah, really exciting that you get to build this. You get to work with some amazing people, and then hand it off to the kids and just watch them take off. Again, I'm making with the puns.
Make sure you intend it.
I know you're still you're working with iLead Lancaster. In fact, today I think is your last day of school,
Yeah.
and the kids are heading off for the summer as you head into this new endeavor. But you've already been working. You've been
Right,
working your
right.
evenings and weekends, doing your initial planning, designing projects, things like that. Can you give us a little bit of a sneak preview of some of the projects and planning that you've been working on for this pathway?
Yeah, so, it's still a work in progress, but I think the biggest thing that I can touch on is our drone curriculum. That aspect, which I think is going to be the most engaging and the best part about the pathway in a whole, because one of the good things about it is as you're taking this pathway, it's structured in a 101, 201, 301 course, right? So it's, or intro 101, 201, 301. So it's a 4-year pathway, but the deliverable at the end is that, all things considered, if the learner follows through with it, they'll be walking away with their Part 107 drone license, which is a great thing to throw on a resume for a lot of different jobs, So, yeah.
That sounds really cool.
It is really cool.
What is that?
So it's it's essentially the FAA certified license to be able to pilot an unmanned aircraft, right? In this case, the drone.
Okay. Yeah, okay, because drones have been a real issue. You have, I know a couple years back we had wildfires here in the area, and the Forest Service was dropping water and things like that. And folks are up there with their drones, the amateur drone pilots flying around trying to get cool footage.
Exactly.
But that can be an issue. So with this license, people become licensed through the FAA.
Yes.
And your students are going to be getting that license through your program.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is really cool. And I can imagine you'll probably be integrating some of those projects that we already talked about, the Dream Up to Space,
Yes.
where kids are designing experiments for the space station, maybe the glider project kids are working on.
Right.
Piloting.
When we look into the aerospace, or I'm sorry, the aviation bucket, that's going to touch on things like the glider, going into the coding aspect of the program, that bucket in particular.
right.
That's where we're trying to, the program to where the learners will be able to walk away with some type of coding certificate as well.
Okay.
Right. So where it's like, hey, I am verified, competent, and skillful in this program language. I mentioned it before for the listeners that may be familiar with Python, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a really popular coding language that is used in a lot of jobs nowadays. So the goal is to have them walk away with some type of certificate that could be great to put on a college application or a resume if you're trying to get a job right after high school.
I've been reading that for several years now, coding is becoming more and more important, and not just for computer programmers or aerospace engineers, but that it's going to become more and more important in just about every field. So have you seen that with your studies and the different experience you've had? Have you seen where folks who don't really think of themselves as maybe computer technicians having to work with code and having to design things
I
with code?
think the biggest shock to me was, I think I had the same impression that you were mentioning earlier. Was like, hey, if you're pursuing like a computer science degree to learn these programming languages like Python, Java, C++, oh, you want to go and like build websites. But
Right.
seeing that when I was at Virgin Galactic, seeing that, hey, these are like aerospace engineers and these are like, data scientists that are really using coding, it was kind of like a shock to me.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was something that was used in that sector. So
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, I've got somebody on my team. I work with iLead in, well, obviously in their marketing and communications. And there's one of my team members. She's absolutely amazing, but her background, her skill set is she's a content editor, and in order for her to do the job that I need her to do, it requires quite a bit of coding as she's taking that content and building it into our websites and constantly updating things. As a matter of fact, the stuff that we're putting together to help promote this pathway, Emily is working on quite a bit of coding.
Coding is like, you know, it's in a lot of different places. I mean, even like using like Google Sheets, right? To get certain functions to come out in Google Sheets, that's essentially coding. Right?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, and that's like something that almost every job utilizes, whether it's, you know, Sheets or Excel, right? Like you're doing certain functions in that to manage important things.
That's a great point, and that might be a wonderful way to help kids kind of get out of their own head to let them know, hey, you've probably already been doing this. If you think you can't code, you're already doing it. That's really cool. So I know you're going to be focusing on the high school. Do you know yet? Are you going to have the opportunity to work with younger learners at all?
Yeah, from what I was, you know, told, that I think we're definitely going to be integrating aerospace related projects for K through 8 over at SCVi.
Right.
Whether that's me putting an aerospace twist on an existing project, like for a POL.
I see.
I know the 8th graders at SCVi are like, they love the glider project.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be helping in that in any way, shape, or form that I can. But even getting down to the littles, right? If there's a way that we can integrate aviation or aerospace into it, I'll be there to integrate those things when the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah. Gosh, that's great. The opportunity to collaborate. You're going to be a really busy guy.
Right.
Because those 4, not just classes, but they're going to be courses. They're in the high school. They're going to keep you pretty busy.
Yeah.
But with the expertise that you've got, I'm sure that the facilitators of the younger grades would welcome it. For our listeners that don't know, our school directors, Chad and Martha, have actually gotten ahead of the curve. And I think they're going to be sending you a pretty strong foundation when it comes to kids with an aerospace background. As a matter of fact, they put out the call this year to every class, every grade, TK through 12th grade, so from our 4-year-olds all the way up through high school, that they wanted to see at least one aerospace project throughout the course of this year. So
That's
remember
exciting.
seeing
Very exciting.
The littles. It was something as simple as looking at paper airplanes and hey, throw it and did it go far? Did it stay in the air for a long time? Why? And kind of experimenting that way, and obviously it steps up each grade level. So you've got some kids with some serious experience to ask.
Oh, I am.
All right, so I just kind of want to set the stage because the biggest reason that SCVi jumped at this opportunity to open an aerospace pathway is because we are in kind of the epicenter of aerospace design and development here in Santa Clarita. Listeners, did you know there are over 70 companies right here in Santa Clarita that are in the aerospace field, whether they're designing hardware for the ships going into space, or I know we've got a company that designs like the windshield for airplanes, and over 70 different companies that are in aerospace right here in Santa Clarita, and there's close to 1,000 jobs right now that are open.
Wow. That
are open in Santa Clarita looking for highly qualified people. Can't find them. Justin, you're going to be getting them those people to fill those positions. So if families want to learn more about this pathway, where can they get more information? I know we've got limited time, but where can families go to get more information?
Yeah, so visiting website, I believe it's ileadsantaclarita.edu.
.org.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, going there, I think under the learning options, you'll see the pathway right there, the career connected learning. It should say the aerospace pathway, and that should be, your first stop is to get that information right there.
Absolutely. I just pulled it up, ileadsantaclarita.org. Right there in the middle of the screen is learning options, and then just a couple steps down is TK through 12 aerospace CTE pathway. You can pull that up, read all about it. We've got videos. We've got some amazing information up there. There's some pictures of the kids doing their different projects, and it talks all about it. So folks, information there at ileadsantaclarita.org, and then click on learning options, click on that pathway tab. But folks in order to get plugged in, they've got to enroll their kids.
Yes.
Right? Remember, folks, SCVi is a free public charter school. It's we are living in the days of school choice, and pretty much if you can hear my voice, you can attend SCVi. Just got to be able to get your kid there. So, Justin, how do they sign up? I'm imagining that somewhere on the website.
Yeah, exactly. Under the same website that you're at before. I mean, you're going to go ahead and visit that, and the information should all be presented under the aerospace pathway.
All right,
drop
fantastic.
Down.
Again, iLeadSantaClarita.org. Or, you know what? Just Google SCVi. We're the top hit. Our search engine optimization is amazing. Google SCVi. Click on enrollment application. You can enroll now. Justin Albright, lead facilitator of SCVi's Aerospace Career Connected Learning Pathway. I'm so excited about this new opportunity that our school has, and we're super excited to have you leading the charge. Justin, have a great summer. Don't rest too much. You got a lot of work to do. Godspeed to you and your students. I am Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi iLead School's Eye on the Valley. If you are just joining us, well, you missed Justin Albright. Justin is, he's about to become the new lead facilitator of SCVi's Aerospace Career Connected Learning Pathway. We talked all about SCVi's Aerospace Pathway that they are, watch this pun, launching in the fall, in August. And so Justin was talking about all the great plans that he's got for the kids over there at SCVi. Did you realize that there are over 70, I think we talked about this in the interview, over 70 aerospace-related businesses right here in Santa Clarita, and jobs out there and available. So SCVi is preparing them for those cutting technology jobs. So again, to learn more about it, go to the SCVi website at iLeadSantaClarita.org, or just Google SCVi for more information. It is really, really exciting. If you were listening, what you heard was actually a pre-recorded portion of the show. So this is this is my first time on the air, even though you've been hearing my voice for the last 45 minutes. See, Justin, he hasn't left his previous job yet, where he's putting in his last day today, so we couldn't have him on live. So appreciate engineer Andrew. He and I recorded that interview last Friday night. Thanks for picking us up, Andrew. Appreciate it. Those of you joining us on the Facebook Live feed, you sort of saw that already. Sarah and I were playing in the comments a little bit. But yeah, that's right. Did you know that we stream the show live on Facebook Live every week? Oh, look, there I am. And there's got my handsome second guest sitting next to me, ready to go. You'll meet him in about 15, 20 minutes. So yeah, you can check us out on the Facebook Live feed. Just go to KHTS Facebook page and scroll until you find it. We are there. And if you miss any portion of our show, you can always catch the replay on the podcast on the KHTS website, hometownstation.com. Now I want you to listen to something, especially if you're not on the Facebook Live, if you're listening on the radio. And love a baker's dozen, and this baker apparently can't count.
Yeah,
nice.
I was fine with the poor math. I'll take it. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Yeah.
So gosh, thanks for picking us up, Jen. You know
me,
I love the holidays.
Yes, well, it's National Donut Day, as you said. So do you like cream-filled donuts? Are you into just plain glazed?
I'll do them all.
We're not going to discriminate. Yeah.
I'm eating a crumb here today. Probably a bad choice. It's all over me now.
It is very crumbly.
But have jelly donut.
Okay.
Jen, you don't get a body.
Jelly one in there.
You don't get a body like this by being discriminate about the donuts that you eat. So what about you? What's your favorite?
You know what?
What's your favorite?
You know what? I love that. I call them the chocolate long. I mean, it's a glazed donut. It's just shaped differently, but those are my favorite.
Right. So I always understood that they were called Long Johns in the Midwest.
Yes, that's where I'm from.
Oh,
I'm from
okay.
St. Louis, so
there
that probably is where that kind of sticks. You know,
okay.
that regional sticks. You know,
okay.
that regional.
We go with a much more sophisticated word, bar.
Ah, yes, right. It's very deep. Yeah.
Okay, so now here's the big one. How do you spell donut? How do you spell donut?
Oh, Donut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Not D-O-N.
The GH, I wonder.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's too fancy.
Yeah, I could never figure it out. So
it's why? Why are we complicating things? Just keep it simple.
Yeah. So Jen, thanks for picking us up. But
You're
this
welcome.
segment of the show, I like to talk about the minor holidays,
yeah.
and didn't even think to look into donuts. This was going what? All about it next break. But yes, website hometownstation.com. You can check out our podcast there, but you know what else you can check out is things to do this weekend. I love that KHTS does this. Every Thursday, it hits my inbox, right about the time you're starting to think about the weekend. Where's the weekend? What are we going to do this weekend? And boom, that KHTS newsletter hits my inbox and lets me know this is what's going on in and around town. Take a look. Yeah, you head on over. We've got so much going on in this town, but there's always a lot of fun stuff. So Santa Cruz Ballet is presenting June 8th and 9th. That's Saturday and Sunday. They're doing the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz
I saw
Ballet.
that.
I've seen a musical, obviously the movie and stage play, but the ballet is putting it on. So that's head on over to the Santa Cruz Performing Arts Center and check them out. That'll be fun. That's going on. There's a Bark in the Park event. This is a 5K race where you can bring your dogs. There's going to be dog adoptions, working, and then again June 15th. They've got a beautiful butterfly encounter. They've this mesh thing, and you can go and stick your kids in there, or you can hop on in there and enjoy some butterflies. Who doesn't enjoy butterflies? I remember a few years back we had some massive invasion of monarch butterflies. They were all over town.
That's not a problem.
It was, they were. You'd be driving down the street. It was kind of sad sometimes, as you're driving, right?
Yeah.
But literally thousands and thousands of butterflies flying around. It was something to do with, some migration or something like that. I didn't realize that butterflies migrate. So this looks fun. Out at Canyon High School's Performing Arts Center, they're putting on a presentation called The Merry Widow Madonna. So it's Mission Opera. Mission Opera has been selected to present The Merry Widow Madonna as part of the Opera America National Conference and World Opera Forum being held in Los Angeles in early June. 4 performances are scheduled for June 6th, that's tonight, and 7th, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., and June 8th at 3 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Again, that's at Canyon High School's Performing Arts Center. So this is a show that's set in the 1980s. The show is in English and will feature a wide variety of dancing, including waltz and vogue, right? So, of course, if we're calling it Madonna and it's set in the 80s, you got to be voguing. The show will highlight the fashion, culture, and music of the glamorous 80s. I got to tell you, the 80s were just the best ever, best decade ever. Love
Agreed.
it. Grew up in the 80s, had an absolute blast. And I love that every couple of years there's a new trend that comes back and we kind of flash back to the 80s. So yeah, talking about British Crown and rock stars like Elton John, Freddie Mercury, George Michael, as they're all desperately trying to hold on to power. So again, check out The Merry Widow Madonna out at Canyon High School all weekend long. What else? You know what? This is not necessarily a thing to do this weekend, although you could. KHTS is letting us know that you can take a shuttle bus up to Agua Dulce for $1 every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, excluding the holidays. We've got a shuttle here in town that'll give you a ride up to Agua Dulce. So that's fun. Yeah, if you're heading out to Agua Dulce, throw out $1. And, for kids and seniors, the ride is free. So even better. So, yeah, have a great weekend. The weather is going to be stunning this weekend, and so enjoy it. When we get back, you're going to meet my newest and bestest buddy, Cesar Torres. He's got incredible energy. He's about to bring a children's museum to Santa Cruz. Stick around and find out. I'm Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.